Hi everyone, Gwinn Volen here. In this video, I'm going to cover February real estate statistics for Ponte Vedra Beach and Ponte Vedra. Ponte Vedra, otherwise known as Nocatee. Two separate zip codes, 32082 for Ponte Vedra Beach and 32081 for Ponte Vedra. Sometimes people don't quite understand the differences, and hopefully this video will help. So Ponte Vedra Beach and Nocatee are right next to each other geographically, but they're behaving like different markets. So let's look at some of the data. Ponte Vedra Beach is along the coast, considered a luxury coastal community, and Nocatee is a beautiful master plan community just over the intercoastal waterway from Ponte Vedra Beach. They have two separate school systems. It's all within St. Johns County. All the schools are excellent with both communities, but there are some pricing differences, and you can kind of see the appeal for one being closer to the water, the other is going to have new homes, so something that is well liked by all. If you look at the prices, the median price point in Ponte Vedra Beach is $1.131 million. That's up about 2.4% year over year, while Nocatee, the median price is around $683, which is down about 16.5%. So here you can see the luxury market is appreciating while Nocatee is down. What just this is telling me is that the sort of upper middle market is still correcting after the pandemic. So on this next slide, we're looking at closed sales, which I think does, continue to tell the story. Ponte Vedra Beach started the year off very strong with a 14.3% increase in closed sales year over year, while Nocatee started a little bit slower with sales slightly down from last year. If we look at days on the market, this also kind of completes the story. Ponte Vedra Beach homes are selling 35% faster than last year, with an average days of 42 days on the market, while Nocatee homes are taking 38% longer at 47 days. I think what this is telling us is luxury buyers are just moving a little bit more quick. Those in the middle market are being more selective. I feel like we have to believe that interest rates are playing a big role in this. As price points go up, for better or worse, there are more cash buyers, and so they're not quite as heavily impacted by interest rates. So on this next slide, it's showing you, list to sold ratio. You're seeing there aren't, a ton of homes going over list price or anything like that. Overall, I think it's clear to say that buyers have regained some negotiating power from the craziness of a few years ago. But I would like to point out that in the uber luxury market, I have seen several bidding wars on the uber luxury end of things. So that's just an interesting anecdote. It isn't reflected yet in the data because they're properties that haven't closed, but I think it does show that, that does still happen. So on this next slide, we're looking at supply. Ponte Vedra Beach has 3.9 months of inventory. That means it would take approximately 4 months to sell everything that is on the market. That points to a seller's market, for sure. Right now it's saying pending sales are down, which we'll call it a yellow flag. Nocatee has 5.4 months of inventory, which is approaching a, balanced market. Pending sales are a little bit up there. So it'll be interesting to see how all that translates into, March and what those look like. So at this next slide, it's kind of still touching on that pending sales. I think March will be interesting to see what happens. Anecdotally, Ponte Vedra Beach, while lower on the pending sales, there just isn't a lot on the market to come out. In Nocatee, we're starting to see new inventory, so we'll see how all of that pans out. So here, this particular slide is showing, market accessibility. Again, sort of comparing the two, you can see what affordability looks like. Nocatee is the more affordable area between the two. One isn't better than the other. It's really a matter of what you're looking for. Can't get my slide to move. So in terms of market trajectory, I think that, Ponte Vedra Beach, what you're seeing is resilience with the luxury market. Location is everything for some people, and some people are really going to value that location close to the beach. And Nocatee, it's correcting and stabilizing. There was such a big run up that I think, you don't want to read too much into it. It's a great place to be, but, definitely has seen some course correcting. So for buyer guidance, you've got leverage, more leverage than you have in Ponte Vedra Beach. I would say in certain segments, It's going to be tight. That $1 to $2 million range, which I recognize is a big range, there really isn't much out there. So, you don't want to over negotiate because there just isn't a lot of choice. In Nocatee, you are going to have more choices and things to look at. And there's so many different kinds of communities. So, not going to see a whole lot of bidding wars, I wouldn't think, but just when you say that, something crazy. What sellers need to know, I think it holds true for both markets. Prepare your home well, make it present well out the market. Those first 2 weeks are going to be critical. In Ponte Vedra Beach, if there's not a lot of competition in your segment, you might be able to push your price just a little bit, but I would remain realistic. And for Nocatee, my biggest caution is don't look at what your neighbor's house sold for, a few years ago. That is no longer the market that you should be looking at when you're pricing your home. So what to expect this spring? I think we're going to see, demand trends. We're going to see, buyers coming out to the market ready to purchase, as opposed to your earlier in the year buyers who are out sort of just looking and shopping. I think we're going to see more inventory come up. I think overall the market is going to remain, flat to steady. And we get to the next slide. So bottom line, when you're entering both markets, just understand it, work with your agent, and really look neighborhood by neighborhood to see what's going on. Don't just assume that because overall you see, say, a decline in prices in Nocatee, that's necessarily going to impact the house that you're looking at. If it's priced well, I think you have to look at upgrades in the community. But, it is important to really dig deeply and work with an agent that is going to provide you with good guidance on each particular area. And if there is buzz around a house, do act decisively. Obviously, be smart, get good inspections and all of that. But, it's not a market where if something great comes on the market, you can just sit back and over negotiate. I see that over and over again. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly at 904-822-9255. Happy to talk to you specifically about any area. We do not focus just on Ponte Vedra Beach. We cover all of Jacksonville, I'd say with a focus on the beaches areas. So again, feel free to reach out or visit us at our website, pontevedrafocus.com. Thank you.